right up at the top of the stairs, and tell them about their tables, what everything is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So again, welcome in, guys. My name is Steven. If you were sitting at Chris Boger's table, your number one glass is gonna be the offset one. So what's in front, that's number one, and then you'll go 2 through 7, starting left to right, okay? Everybody else will be left to right, going 1 through 7, okay? All right, so I'm gonna give you kind of a background on how I curate tastings. Get on out of here, Chris. Wino. All right, so the way that I see that curation should happen is that it should tell a story, right? So everything should flow one into the other. I could pour 7 great drinks for you, but that might not go together well, right? Or I could slip something in there that might be 50, 60 bucks, but when I put it into the flight, it becomes an amazing drink, right? So that's what we're gonna do tonight. Okay, so first thing I wanna do is I wanna go over kind of how to taste. Now I know that a lot of y'all obviously like bourbon, so we're gonna have people from bottom of the spectrum to the top of the spectrum. If you know some of these things, please don't feel insulted. I just wanna give everyone kind of the benefit of the doubt, all right? So I wanna take every glass, all right? I wanna go ahead and coat the entire glass, all right? Donnie, we got commercials going.
I'm fixing to turn it down.
All right, so I wanna take, go ahead.
We're not for profit, we don't pay for the no ad.
I just wanna go real quick and coat every glass all the way up to the top. All right, you can go ahead and do that right now. All right, you can swirl if you want to. All right, pick it up, swirl it, go to the top of the glass and put it back down. Now I'm gonna follow along step by step with you guys. So we're not gonna go too fast, not gonna go too slow. All right, now while we're doing that, I'm gonna give you kind of some more tips on how we're gonna taste. So technically there's 6 ways, there's 6 categories that you would do when you're analyzing a glass of whiskey or rum or brandy or whatever it is. So one's going to be viscosity and color. Now those are not gonna be as important tonight. We're gonna focus on the last 4, which are gonna be nose, palate, mouthfeel, and finish. Okay, so viscosity and color are exactly what they are. How thin or how thick is it? And then what color is it? And you'll see there's a little bit different of the colors in this, and we will compare that. I'll tell you the years and things like that, right? So what we wanna do now is we're gonna go up and down, and that's the point of this flight, is that we can go up and then we can go down, and there's no break in flavor. There's no break in taste. There's nothing that sticks out. There's nothing that, that doesn't fit, right? Okay, so what I wanna do next, we're gonna go to the nose. I want you to pick up each glass. All right, we're gonna go mouth open. You'll bring it to your nose. You're gonna wrap your nose back and forth. Long, slow draw through the nose 2 or 3 times, and then go to the next glass. Okay, so look like this here. Okay, you go away. Okay, set it down, go to the next glass. We're gonna go all the way up, and then we're gonna go all the way back down. That's round 1. We're just gonna smell everything. And take your time with this, don't feel rushed. We're just kind of barely starting to pick out some beginner notes right here. And as you're picking out your notes, right, don't feel like you have to be super analytical, okay? If you're just beginning out and you're not very familiar with this, think of what landscape does this make you think of, okay? What scenery, what childhood memory, what food that your mom or your grandma made, right? Very simple things like that. And then as you start to dial in things, say, hey, this is sweet, okay? Well, what kind of sweet is this? Is this butterscotch? Is this caramel? Is this vanilla? Is this sugar crystal? Or it's spicy. Well, is it sweet spicy? Is it like cinnamon, or is it nutmeg, or is it black pepper? Things like that, right? Give your brain 1 or 2 things to latch onto, and then let it paint the rest of the picture, okay? Now, before we get into round 1, the next thing we'll do is palate, right? So palate is how does it taste? So every time we pick up a glass, we'll nose, right? Taste, and then mouthfeel and finish will go bang, bang right after each other. So mouthfeel will be what is going on while it is on the tongue, okay? So I push it up into the gums, I push it under the tongue, bottom of the gums. I let it set for 2 or 3 seconds, and then I drink, right? And then when I open my mouth again to breathe, that's when the flavor will come through. So mouthfeel is how does it feel, and then finish is what happens after I drink it. Is it dry? Is it oily, right? Does the flavor linger? Is it short? Things like that, okay? So that's the 4 that we're paying attention to in this one. Nose, palate, mouthfeel, and finish, okay? All right, so we're gonna go kind of quickly through round number 1, okay? We're gonna go 2 rounds with this, so save just enough to have another sip on round 2. All All right, round one, we're gonna go to some basic specs, and then I'm gonna come to reveal the bottles in round two, and we're gonna go to some deep history and things like that, okay? All right, so go ahead and nose, taste, nose. Nose, taste, nose. So number one, we have a 12-year-old single barrel. This is 95 proof. All right, mash bill on this is going to be about 10 to 12% rye. The rest is gonna be corn and a little bit of malted barley. If I say too much more, my aficionados will know what I'm doing with this, right? So nose, we'll taste. All right, we'll drink. All right, and again, once the mouth opens again, you start to breathe, that flavor comes through, okay? It's kind of a weird, nasty analogy, but it's almost like a burp, right? You're kind of backdrafting that flavor, it comes back through again, okay? Now, after I taste it, I go back to the nose. All right, and then I'm gonna immediately nose number two. Okay, now that I've nosed number two, I'm gonna go back down to one. We're gonna do this all the way through, okay? You'll see the flavors pop and begin to present themselves in different ways as we keep going, okay? So I nose one, I go back to two, I nose one again, now we're gonna taste two. All right, so small sip. A lot of going back and forth, I know. All right, so we're tasting two. I want you to look for some very, very toasty caramel, but like light caramel vanillins, right? So the point of this flight is we're gonna build from soft, sweet oak into very, very dark, pungent oak, okay? We're almost charcoal, all right? So number two, this is going to be a Tennessee whiskey. This is going to be 100 proof, and this is also going to be a single barrel. Okay, all right, now we go to number three. So pick up number three. Give it a good long, slow draw on the nose. Long, slow draw on the nose, okay, give it a good taste. Let it sit for a second, make sure you coat your whole mouth, right? We're paying attention to all those things. After I taste three, I nose three again, and then I go back down to two and smell it again. Okay, so we will continue to stair step all the way through. And I know we're going kind of quick because we're gonna spend a lot of time on round two. Spend a lot of time in detail on round two, all right? So number three was the 100 proof. This is going to be a blend of two high rye whiskeys from Indiana, okay? All right, moving on to glass number four. Glass number four. All right, this is also going to be a single barrel. This is what we call a sweet mash. We'll go into details about what that means later. All right, this is gonna be 107 proof. This is going to be a high rye bourbon. All right, so look for the building of oak, the building of depth, building of complexity as we go through these. So nose, taste. Then we'll go back to the nose again. Okay, after we've nosed four, we'll move back down to three and just give it a good sniff. Okay, so what I want you to look for when we're going back down is that sweetness should come through. Okay, so as we go up, the oak and the char will build. As we pop back down periodically, that sweetness will kind of pop a little bit more, okay? All right, on to glass number five, on to glass number five. This is also a single barrel. We're moving up in 120 proof range. All right. This is going to be partly a dusty. So this was bottled in 2020. This is before they changed labels again. We'll go over details with that. So we'll go nose. I want you to look for some very deep, dark tobacco notes on this. Okay, this char level's building now. Getting to number five, it's building a lot more. All right, so nose, taste. Go back to the nose. All right. After you've nose tasted nose at five, go back down to four and nose it again. Is anybody catching on with this sweetness kind of popping when we're going back? Okay. All right, number six. Number six. This is an American light whiskey. This is an American light whiskey. All right, proof on this is gonna be 130. This is also going to be a single barrel. All right, I want you to look for, so this one, as weird as it sounds, this one's gonna be one of the sweeter ones. The oak and the char is not gonna be as present with this, but it really fit well between 5 and 7. So I was really struggling finding a bottle between 5 and 7 to bridge that gap. And this one just did it well, even though it's not super oaky. All right, so nose. Why don't you look for some corn syrup, some corn sugar on this. Very, 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 very sweet. All right, so nose, sip, nose. All right, after we've nosed it again, we go back down to 5. Give it a smell. All right, on to glass number 7. And again, I know we're speeding through this, but I want to spend time on the second round. This we're going to go into detail. I'm going to kind of let y'all free, okay? All right, glass number 7, also a single barrel. 7 years old, 127 proof. This was aged in what we call a Kelvin barrel, okay? Kelvin barrels are going to be heavy toast, heavy char, and they're going to groove the inside of the barrel, okay? So what does that do? It adds more surface area for the whiskey to interact with, right? So you get more depth, more maturity quicker, okay? So even though this is a 7-year-old, and most of these are older than that, this is going to be one of the deepest, darkest chars on this flight, okay? So nose, taste, and then nose. Look for that really deep, dark char note. Okay, now this is gonna be pretty cool. What we're gonna do is now we're gonna nose all the way down. So we'll pick up 7, spend some time, okay? Now we're going slow. We're gonna take our time, go real easy with this. Long, slow draw, 2 or 3. Give me 2 or 3 long, slow draws on number 7 here. All right, let's go to 6. Again, take your time. There's no rush with this. Now we're about to slow down. Go to 5 when you're ready. Make sure mouth is open, kind of hugging the nose back and forth. Get both nostrils involved with this. And then we'll go down to 4. We're going to 3, and now the sweetness is going to really start to pop for you. When we get down to 2, this is going to be one of the best smells you ever smell in your life, I promise. And then 1 should almost be candy sweet. All right, when you get done with 1, take a break. We're gonna breathe a little bit, get some water in you, and then we're gonna spend some time with these. All right, now, I want this to be a little interactive as well, right? I want y'all to have a good time. If there's any questions, anything that you want to shout out, I'm gonna ask some questions as well. Please feel free, okay? All right, glass number 1. Now we're gonna spend some time on it, okay? So we're gonna go left to right. Glass number 1 is gonna be Eagle Rare 12 year. Eagle Rare 12 year, okay? So Eagle Rare was introduced to the market by Seagram's. They were the first ones to own them. They brought it in at 101 proof, even though this one's 95. Brought it in at 101 proof to compete with another 101 proof bird. Does anyone know what that whiskey would be? Wild Turkey 101, okay? So this was introduced as a 10-year-old single barrel to compete with Wild Turkey 101 at 101 proof, okay? Later in 1992, Buffalo Trace bought them out, and this has been one of the flagship brands for Buffalo Trace for, I guess that's going on 20, 25 years now, okay? 35 years now, it's 2026, okay? So let's go back to number 1 again. I want you to look for very soft, sweet oak, a little bit of grape Jolly Rancher, very candy sugariness, all right? Spend some time. These things should become just potent to you on this round. Spend some time with it. Hopefully it should. Hopefully it should.
Nice.
There we go. And if you want, you can go ahead and finish this. If you want, you can go ahead and finish it. Yep. Now, not too yet, yeah. Now, even though there's nothing in that glass, we are still going to be going back to that glass for nosing. You're going to be surprised how good the glass smells when there's nothing in it, okay? All right, number 2. I said it was a Tennessee. Say again? Yeah, absolutely. So this is going to be mash bill number 1. So this is their low rye mash bill. So Buffalo Trace does not reveal exactly what it is, but it's going to be 10 to 12% rye. The rest will be corn and a little bit of malted barley, okay? They also have a mash bill number 2, which is what goes into all their single barrels, like Bland's, Elmer T. Lee, things like that, okay? So mash bill number 1, which is the low rye. This is also going to be the same as Stag, the regular Buffalo Trace release, products like that, okay? All right, so number 2, I said it was a Tennessee whiskey. Anybody have any idea what it is? It is Heritage. Very nice. Okay, you said it? Yeah, but you already knew. You've already done this flight. Yeah. Okay, so we all grew up on Jack number 7, right? It was the cheap stuff that you bought to get drunk with, right? Well, we have graduated from that. Anything in these Jack square bottles has become some of the best whiskey I've ever had. Jack Daniel's went from one of my least favorite brands to one of my favorite brands total, okay? So, what is the difference between this and the other bottles? Okay, so this blue label right here. First of all, it's a single barrel. Second of all, it's gonna be what we call foolproof. Does anybody know the difference between foolproof and barrel proof? Does anybody know the answer to that one? Foolproof versus barrel proof. Okay, so barrel proof will be exactly what it sounds like. Whatever it comes out of the barrel at, that's what it is. So if it comes out of the barrel at 123.6, that's what they bottle it at. Foolproof, so some of y'all probably had Weller Foolproof, which is the blue label, okay? That does not mean that it was exactly that proof when it was in the barrel. What that means is that whenever I'm barreling whiskey, okay, I put it in at X proof, okay? The legal limit for American bourbon, rye, and wheat is gonna be 125, okay? But I can put it in at a lower proof, and really that's good. The lower the proof you put it into the barrel, the better quality whiskey you're gonna have when it comes out, okay? So for example, this one's 100 proof. So Jack Daniel's put the whiskey into the barrel at 100 proof. Now, what happens over time to proof in the barrel? Does it go up or down? Goes up, evaporation, right? So the water's gonna evaporate, 99% of the time the water's gonna evaporate out of the barrel, okay? So your alcohol content will go up, okay? So they put it in at 100. It's gonna rise after 7 years, it's gonna go up to 105, 106, 107. And then when it comes out of the barrel, they proof it back down to 100. So that's what foolproof means. Whatever proof it went into the barrel at, it comes out at that same proof, okay? So what is the advantages of putting whiskey into the barrel at a lower proof? Here we go, okay. Legal limit for the whiskey is going to be 125 proof into the barrel, okay? Now, alcohol in the barrel will pull out more tannins, okay? So more oak, more char, things like that. Water pulls out more sugars, okay? So if I put whiskey into the barrel at a lower proof, it's going to pull out more sugars, okay? Not to mention that water is interacting with that barrel, okay? On the flip side, let's say I put it in at the legal limit, 125. And then I take that out and I gotta proof it down to 110, 105, 100. I gotta add a lot of water to my product, so I'm just diluting it, right? But if I put it in at a lower proof, I don't have to dilute it as much, so I have a better quality product because I'm not adding a bunch of water. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is what you call foolproof. It's also heavy toast, heavy char, or a heavy toast flash char. So they're gonna toast this barrel for 24 minutes. So that's a smaller fire, brown, like a dark toasted kind of brown, golden brown. And they're gonna flash char it for 15 to 30 seconds. So that's when that flame, boom, comes on. Now, what is the difference between toasting and charring, especially if you're gonna do the same barrel? When it just kind of negate? Well, here's what happens. When I toast something, not only am I going to bring out different lactones in the barrel because different temperatures bring out different chemicals, but the surface area is going to be different. So a toasted barrel, the literal surface area is different looking and feeling than a charred barrel, okay? So if I do both, then I brought out lactones that come from toasting, which is vanillins, light caramels, things like that. If I char, I bring out dark burnt sugars. So the theory is I get the best of both worlds, right? And I've changed the surface area of that barrel. And the interaction of the whiskey going in and out of the barrel is what gives whiskey its flavor, the majority of its flavor, okay? All right, so we'll go back to number 2. Again, looking for, if you haven't already drank it, that's fine. Looking for very toasty vanilla, caramel, light caramel, butterscotch, things like that. Number 2, we're still on number 2. That's okay, that's okay. While I'm describing each bottle, I want y'all to enjoy that glass, okay? Now, for bonus points that don't mean anything, what is the difference between Tennessee whiskey and bourbon? Charcoal filtration, okay? So bourbon and Tennessee whiskey are both identical, except for Tennessee whiskey has to go through maple sugar charcoal filtration before it goes into the barrel, okay? All right.
One other thing, they usually char first, then toast second.
Char first, then toast second. These, as far as I've known, they're gonna toast these first and then flash char. So this is 24-minute toast and then a flash char. But that's a good point. Okay, so after we finish 2, sounds weird. Even if it's empty, I want you to nose the glass. And then nose 1 again. Again, even if it's empty. Okay, all right. Now we're going to bottle number 3. This is going to be the coolest story you've ever heard about whiskey. Anybody ever heard of the name, again, enjoy this glass while I'm describing this. Anybody heard of the name George Remus? Okay. George Remus is who the character Jay Gatsby was based on, okay? So he was a famous bootlegger back during Prohibition, to the point of almost being as powerful as like mob bosses, okay? He had so much money that he did not know how much he had, which I know is all of us in this room, especially me. So George Remus started out as a pharmacist, and then started as a lawyer and then became a pharmacist, because back then lawyers were not being paid as well as you would think, right? So he passed the bar at 19 years old, right? And then he bought a pharmacy when Prohibition came on. Who was allowed to sell alcohol during Prohibition? Exactly, right? So there were 6 distilleries that made it through. 6 distilleries still had license to produce medicinal whiskey, right? And George Remus bought one of those. That distillery would later become MGP. If you know whiskey, you know MGP. Midwest grain producers are from Indiana. Anything that's not Kentucky bourbon, they're pretty much making, okay? So he bought MGP, right? And he starts selling good whiskey, good liquor, not faking it, not cutting anything, not adding turpentine or colors, which is what you were getting if you were gonna do kind of black market bootleg whiskey, right? So George Remus saw how much potential there was for money on the kind of the black market, but he had a legal license. So what he would do is he would send shipments out to the medical offices and people that were ordering legal whiskey, and then he would send his goons basically to intercept that and hijack it. So he was stealing his own whiskey and then selling it on the black market. So it looked like he was doing, legal things, but then he was selling it under the table, right? Now, eventually they cut on, because every shipment he was doing was getting stolen and things like that, right? So he did a little bit of time in jail, did a couple years in jail. His wife then made a deal with the government and snitched on him and tried to steal everything from him, which she successfully did. When he got out, he saw that not only had she stolen anything from him, but she had hooked up with the government agent that she snitched on him with. So he killed her, and then, wait a minute, then he represented himself as a lawyer on his own trial and was acquitted on insanity and got everything back. So very, very crazy story. So Remus, yes. So Remus, before Penelope, if you've heard of Penelope, that's the only other brand that MGP owns as far as their own brand, but Remus is MGP's kind of flagship brand, right? So this is gonna be a blend between their 2 flagship bourbons, their high rye and their low rye. Their high rye is 60 corn, 36 rye, which is very similar to Four Roses. And then a blend of their 75-21, which is still kind of a high rye bourbon, but it's low rye for them, okay? So again, if we have not already enjoyed this glass, we can go ahead and finish it. Once you do, I want you to nose all the way back down. Yeah, we're on 3. So whatever bottle's up here, that's the number we're on. All right, so again, kind of look for that oak to build. There's a little bit of dusty, a little bit of oak and corn on this. Yes, sir.
What's that called again? Remus what?
This is Remus. This is going to be Remus Repeal. This is their limited release every year. Yeah. Now there is a super limited release called the Gatsby version, which is getting what the character Gatsby was based on Remus, and that will be a very fancy bottle. But this is their regular LE. Yep. So again, nose, taste, nose, and then back down. Okay, bottle number 4. Bottle number 4. Peerless single barrel. This is gonna be a high rye. It's 107 proof. Okay, so Peerless is very secretive about what they do. They don't like to reveal their mash bill. They don't really like to reveal a lot of their process, but Peerless was a brand that was pre-Prohibition. They died with Prohibition, like very many other distilleries. Thousands of distilleries died during Prohibition. And then someone came back and restored that brand. Now, usually people that restore brands are not part of that original family. There'll be a really cool heritage or lineage with that brand. So someone will say, hey, that's a really cool story, for example, like Remus, and we're gonna restore that brand. But you're starting over. You might have their name and their label, but you don't have their DSP. Peerless is actually the same family, the family that owns it now is the same family that owned it pre-Prohibition. So they fought the courts to get their original DSP. Now what does DSP stand for? Distilled Spirits Plant or Producer, okay? We'll go either one of those, right? So Peerless was DSP KY Kentucky 50. So they were the 50th distillery to open up in Kentucky, to have an official license, okay? We are in the, I wanna say the 100,000s now of distilleries that have licenses just in Kentucky. Tennessee's in the 20,000 range. So it took a lot of court battles to get back the original DSP 50. And you can see what that means when you're in the 10,000s of DSPs for your state, and then you have the number 50 on yours. That means something, right? So that's what they fought so hard for, okay? What's also cool about Peerless is that they are strictly sweet mash. There's only 3 brands in Kentucky that do sweet mash. Hard Truth, Peerless, and Wilderness Trail. Okay, now what does sweet mash mean? Have you ever picked up a bottle of whiskey and it said, especially Jack Daniels, would be right on the front, it said straight whiskey, sour mash. Anybody ever seen that word before? Okay, so what does sour mash mean? Sour mash is when you have a pot still, right? You put your physical grain, your distillate in there, right? You distill it, you take that away, that's that single batch. You keep a little bit of what you call back set. So that physical grain, that mash porridge that you use to distill your whiskey with, you keep a little bit of that in there. Okay, now what does that do? Well, the main thing, before we had really good technology for sanitation, was that it kept things sanitary because you lower the pH level, right? So bacteria is not gonna survive as well in that distillate, okay? Now, does it change the taste, sweet versus sour mash? Yes, it does, okay? So sweet mash would be cleaning that pot out every single time, okay? So it's a very fresh batch every single time. It does not necessarily mean that the whiskey is going to be sweeter or more sour, okay? It's just a terminology based on pH level. It does change the taste, right? But it does not necessarily mean it's going to be sour or sweet, okay? All right, so again, high rye bourbon. Look for that oak to build a little bit more. I want you to look for a little bit of sweet baking spices on this. Cinnamons, nutmegs, cloves, and a little bit of medium oak. Yep, going on number 4. Go ahead and finish it if you want to.
Speaking of DSP, didn't Jack Daniels have number 7 originally, then lost it in Prohibition, and they never could get it back, so they just put it on the label?
That is correct. That is correct. All right, so again, nose, taste, nose, and then nose all the way back down to glass number 1, even if it's empty. Okay, everybody ready? Moving on to glass number 5. All right, this is a Knob Creek single barrel, but this is not the Knob Creek single barrels that you're gonna get in the store nowadays, okay? So right now, you go into a store, you pick up a bottle of Knob Creek single barrel, it's gonna be 9.5 years pretty much, average, all right? This is a 14.5 year Knob Creek single barrel. The reason they don't make this anymore is because now they are putting this into the 18, the 12, and the 21, okay? The 12 year, the 18 year, and the 21 year, or the Jim Beam lineage, which is also 15 years old, okay? So they stopped making the single barrel picks 9.5 years old because they didn't have enough distillate to make the other high-end products they had. Now, you might have seen on the news that Jim Beam just shut down production for their Claremont distillation, for their Claremont distillery. They're only doing experiments right now, okay? That does not mean that Jim Beam is shutting down. It means they have so much distillate right now that they don't need to keep producing, okay? So 14.5 years old, you will not see this anymore. That is a very unique bottle. It's also a store pick. Does everybody know what store pick means? Okay, so if I have a bourbon group or a store, if I own a liquor store, I can go to a certain distillery, taste through their barrels, and pick a single barrel, okay? That means I can pick something that might be totally off profile, totally unique to anything else that might ever be on the market, okay? So when a distillery releases their own single barrel, for example, Jack Daniel's single barrel, okay? Jack Daniel's is selecting these barrels. So they're gonna keep it as close to that profile as they can, right? But if I go individually, or you go, or a store goes, I can pick anything I want, potentially, all right? So I can pick something very, very unique, okay? This is probably my favorite bottle in the flight. I want you to really look for very dark, deep, spicy tobacco on this, okay? Very earthy notes. Now there is some sweet that comes through. You might get a little bit of cherry tobacco on this. And when I say tobacco, I mean the loose leaf, like chaw, not dip. Okay, and again, same process. Nose, taste, nose, and then back down. Second, sir. This is 120, 120 proof. So everybody do me a favor real quick. Pick up glass number 2. I want you to look for a savory, fatty bacon note. Glass number 2, look for a savory, salty, like fatty bacon note. Little bit of vanilla on there as well. All righty, here we go. Glass number 6. Glass number 6. J. Mattingly. So this is not a very famous brand. This is kind of recent. However, they have a very similar story to Peerless. So they were DSP 2. They lost it, and they came back recently. I want to say it was 2013, 14. They came back, and they got their DSP back. So DSP KY 2. Very, very cool. So, for example, Wild Turkey, which is a very famous, huge Kentucky brand, 67. Wild Turkey is 67, and this is 2. Okay. Number 1, if you're wondering, is going to be Heaven Hill, which is Elijah Craig, Evan Williams, Larceny, Old Fitzgerald, things like that. Okay. All right. So American Light Whiskey. Is anybody familiar with the term American Light Whiskey? What that means and where it came from? No? Okay. All right. So y'all are all, Donnie, what'd you say the average age in this room is? I wasn't going to say old.
Great news, I did that at Opryland when I was 17 years old. I would say, are we doing median or average? 140's pushing it.
Let's don't get into it.
Yeah, 40 something.
Okay, how about this? How many of you, your dad, when he came home, was drinking brown liquor? When he came home from work, he was drinking Jim or Jack, some kind of...
Work at the desk. With an
Sure. Okay. Now, when you guys were in college, high school, whenever you started drinking, right? Unless you're really country and from the country, you followed in your dad's footsteps. But you saw the trend of clear liquors coming through in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, right? Specifically James Bond, right? James Bond did not drink brown liquor. It was always a martini. And what was it? It was not stirred, exactly, right? Okay, so light whiskey was a attempt to compete with the clear liquors, vodka, gin, vodka and gin. Those are clear liquors. And tequila, yes, okay? All right, so light whiskey is not called light whiskey because it's light, it's called it because it's light in color, okay? So I have a 34-year-old bottle of light whiskey that is this same color, all right? This is not. This is much younger. Okay, that's only 6 or 7 years old. I'm sorry, this is 14 and a half years old. This is 5 years old. This is 7 years old, right? So much darker than this color, right? So light whiskey was to combat the clear liquors and try to save the whiskey market because bourbon was tanking in the 70s and 80s, right? Until the boom came on in the late 90s and early 2000s, all right? So that's what the point of light whiskey was. Now, what does light whiskey mean as a legal term, okay? So light whiskey, especially American light whiskey, is going to be predominantly corn whiskey that is aged in either a brand new uncharred barrel, a brand new uncharred barrel or a used X barrel, right? So a used charred barrel. So for example, bourbon, say again?
Irish whiskey.
No, it is not. So Irish whiskey is going to be barley. It's going to be malted and unmalted barley. This is going to be predominantly corn. So 99 corn, 1% malted barley, right? So it is a very, very, very sweet product. Also, it's going to be distilled at 160 or higher, okay? It's going to be distilled at 160 or higher. Bourbon, rye, and wheat, as far as America is concerned, has to be 160 or lower, okay? So American light whiskey and light whiskey in general is a very high distillation, and then it's going to go into an ex-bourbon barrel or an ex-charred barrel or a brand new uncharred barrel. That's what gives it the lighter color. Because when the barrel's already been used, even though it's charred, a lot of that char has come through into that first drink, all right, and then I put that second drink into it, okay? So very, very sweet on this. I want you to look for some corn syrup, maybe some corn flakes. And again, this is 130 proof. Now, obviously it's high proof, but the palate particularly should be spicy, okay? So not just hot, yes, it is very hot, but you should feel some spice on that palate, okay? Now again, back down. Okay, now, here's the finale. Glass number 7. All right, this is Nashville Barrel Company. You probably have not heard of this. Maybe you have, I don't know. All right, so Nashville Barrel Company is a store of store picks. So we kind of went over what store pick means with glass number 5 here. So what Nashville Barrel does is they go to distilleries across the nation and they hand select single barrels, okay? So if the barrel is not good, they don't pick it. Okay, so this is the same mash bill as Remus right here. This is going to be 75 corn, 21 rye, and the rest can be malted barley. This was aged in a Kelvin barrel. Okay, I was talking about Kelvin barrels earlier. Heavy toast, so toasted very heavily for a long time, and then a very heavy char. You're good, Nine. All right, and then they're going to groove the inside of the barrels, add more surface area for the whiskey to interact with. This is going to be very deep, dark tobacco, dark char, all those dark, deep notes that you've ever thought of. That's what you're going to get with this note, okay? All right, so nose, taste, nose again. So this is going to be MGP. It's going to be MGP. Same place as Remus. All right, now you will get some sweetness there as well, but I want you to look for that deep, dark char. All right, now, instead of going down, I want you to pick up glass number 1 and then nose all the way up. Take your time. Yep. Again, look for that bacon note on number 2. This is going to be 127, 128.52. That's going to be barrel strength. All right, so let me get some feedback from y'all. So what was? I'm gonna lift a bottle. If that was the favorite glass, why don't you just lift your hand? Okay. So Eager 12. Who was this? Anybody's favorite?
Oh, I'm sorry, what was it?
Eager 12. Was this anybody's favorite? All right. Number 2, Jack Daniel's Heritage. This is one of my favorites too. I like this one a lot. All right, Remus. Who liked this one? Remus is good. Remus is good. This is an LE. Peerless. Gotcha. All right, Knob Creek. Anybody like that Knob Creek one? All right, who liked the American Light Whiskey? Okay, and then NBC. Okay, all right, that's okay. Okay, all right. All right, do we have any questions on any of this? Any clarification, anything we need to go over again? Okay, well, we got a special treat for y'all at the end. What we're gonna do is we have a coffee liqueur whiskey, coffee cold brew whiskey that we're gonna pour over some vanilla ice cream for y'all. A little finisher sweet treat. So please enjoy that. And then I think Jordan's gonna come up here and give us a little spiel. But thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. We're a great group. Thank you.
Steven is the man. He blows my mind every single time. He starts telling me stories. And the thing I need you to know, the enthusiasm you're getting is it's endless, the time that he puts into what you just went through right there. So again, thank you, Steven. So I wanted Jordan and I to tell you, Chris. Jordan and I want to tell you a little bit about what the Giving Barrel is all about, because you just experienced basically 50% of what the Giving Barrel is all about. So, Jordan, I'd love for you to give kind of some high-level stuff, and then we'll kind of fill in the blanks. It's a dream that I've had as far as how to curate it. I didn't know how to do it, and once I teamed up with this awesome board that we've got here, it all came to fruition.
Yeah. So I blame James Wade for this experience here tonight. Who in here has been to the Whiskey House in Nashville? Yeah, James has too. And James told me about this. So my previous job, I was with a nonprofit with the Chamber of Commerce in Robertson County, and we were always looking for non-dues revenues, way to raise money, something outside the box, something that nobody else in our community had thought of. So James told me about this individual who created the Whiskey House, and I thought it was freaking genius. He figured out how to turn his love of whiskey and bourbon into a nonprofit, therefore it became tax deductible, exempt and deductible, so people invest. And he also started giving back to the community that he lives in, which is, if I was super money motivated, I would have been a mortgage loan originator a long time ago, but I stayed in the nonprofit world.
I begged her to come up.
But I really do care deeply about just giving back to my community. When I left the chamber and started working with my husband full time, that was a deal we made. Like, how do we give back? Like, you know, that what makes me happy is serving the community that I live in. So when Donnie called and said, hey, I want to do the Whiskey House in Robertson County, I want it to be something that impacts the nonprofits in our county. How do we do this? Let's put a board together. And I was like, yes, let's, because I also love bourbon.
She's like, there's whiskey involved? Yes, I'm in.
More than most men.
No doubt.
Chris.
Sorry, sir.
I mean, it's true.
It is true.
I'm not even apologizing for that. I can thank my husband for that. So,
Yeah,
there you go.
It's fine.
It's always somebody else's
He,
fault.
as always, he figured out he loved it, and I like to hang out with him. And
Let's do it.
listen, there are beautiful places Layton, beautiful places with distilleries.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, soak that up. It's kind of like golf. I now like golf. You know why? Beautiful resort for
For
golf.
sure.
They also have a spot. Fine, no problem.
Focus.
Okay, sorry. Okay. So, there is an opportunity tonight for you to hear about how to give back to your community and also answer that question, how do I also drink while I do it? And hang out with people that are like-minded and really give back to the community that we serve.
So I'll take it real quick. So just imagine what the whiskey house does. And JB, does anybody know John Brittle? That's the founder there. He is sat right here with his son, and I just drilled him. Like, man, tell me everything. Tell me all about it. And he's very supportive of what we're doing right here.
over there.
He was a wild
Half ounce a piece, probably.
Yeah.
3/4 ounce.
Yeah, I'm 100% in, mainly because I want to see what all they do so we can bring it right here and be just as awesome with no need to recreate the wheel. But he was a wine guy originally, but he realized, like all of us, when you open a bottle of wine, you gotta drink it, right? All this stuff that's been opened up here, who knows how long it's been open for, it actually gets better, that kind of thing. So he decided to take that to the philanthropic side. Look, he has a caring heart, loves that kind of thing. So what you just experienced is what we will do for any not-for-profit that the stakeholders get involved. So, whatever, the March of Dimes, the American Cancer Society, the Chambers, the blah, whatever, we give them a piece of paper. Whiskey tasting for 10. Now, notice there's not the word whiskey in the giving barrel because I prefer fruits of the vine, if you will. So, wine, the main three are whiskey, wine, and tequila, right? High-end stuff, we'll give them an experience, that kind of thing. We're going to do that same kind of experience that you had with wine and tequila as well. And gin, whatever, the sky's the limit. But basically, you take that piece of paper to the March of Dimes, the American Cancer Society, they auction it off, right? They have auctioned it for $5,000, right? And by the way, we realize we're just growing in our selection, so they might not go. Whiskey Barrel just sold one for $20,000 for whiskey tasting for 10. By the way, they raised $1 million for other not-for-profits in 2025. They are doing one tasting at least per day. Now, we're not there yet. We're babies. We're trying to learn. That's why you're here right here to kind of expand that.
Yeah, so let me take it from there. I'll say this is a stakeholders meeting. So what we're asking you to do, and it will be a very exclusive club because we're having to write the bylaws as we go. What are the rules and regulations? How many people can come down at a time? Do we give you a door code so you have access? We're working all out those details. And right now, yes, the answer is yes to that. But we have to make sure people aren't taking advantage of the opportunity, that are not straining the well, that they're giving as much as they're receiving. Because this is an investment not just in the product that you're giving, it's the experience, it's the relationship, and it's in the community that we're trying to serve as well. So there's going to be several options for you to give. The top level is $2,500.
Yep, 1 year, $2,500.
That gives you access to everything. There's not going to be a label that you can't have access to. And what does access mean? That means you're going to choose a nonprofit. We're going to let them donate an experience here, and we keep 80%.
No, they keep 80%.
They keep 80%. I'm sorry, they keep 80%.
So, just
we
real
being
quick.
a nonprofit.
Never mind. So, say they auction off for $2,000. March of Dimes deposit gets the check made out to them for $2,000. Then they write a check to our not-for-profit for 20%.
Yeah.
So $400 in that. Then that's our restocking fee, if you will. That's 50% of our revenue. The other percent is us hanging out together as people of like-minded things that we like, and that didn't come out right. I got a couple glasses of wine, but like-minded people, we're hanging out together, sipping. We'll have events, barbecues. Cody is working on our non-alcoholic board member, loves cigars, so we're trying to curate some cigar areas, that kind of thing. So you don't want to smoke in here because everybody's smoking if you smoke in here.
And we're also insured. So
100% insured.
By the way,
Yes.
if y'all wanted to know, we're all insured.
So 2,500, 1,500, 1,000, 750. Each of those come with limited access or all access, as you can imagine with any investment that you make. I would remind you, this is not about you getting $2,500 back in your investment, okay? You're investing in the experience, in the relationships, and the impact you're making within the community.
Yeah, we are literally we can't buy through distributors. We're going to retail. You go up to a distillery, bring a bottle back, donate it to the crew. We're building our library as
It's
we're
what
doing.
you're eating tonight, so this obviously vanilla ice cream, but one of our board members who's not here tonight, he's on his way to
Bali,
Bali.
for God's sake.
He got a bottle of bourbon while he was in New York.
New York.
And
Yep.
then
Stephen can tell us
Stephen,
about it.
what
King,
is that?
yeah, Kings County.
Kings County, yeah.
One of the first distilleries in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, very
And
cool
it's
brand.
their bourbon syrup, honey infused something.
Yeah.
Coffee cold brew whiskey.
That's what
Yep.
it is.
And we're
It's good.
definitely reaching just for the, we're not trying to do what, you know, the Bourbon House is doing. We're trying to reach out to this smaller community like the Robertson County, Sumner County, Middle Tennessee area. We would love for it to grow, but we're in a place right here that it can only be so much. So we only concentrate really on these couple of counties that we have.
So there'll be some rules, for example, no one under 21, no excessive drinking. We really encourage you to bring a bottle. I know, can you believe it?
Now,
Look,
we're
we'll
not
have-
built for getting drunk. We're getting here
We'll have
to.
White House PD just parked in the parking lot. We're doing
Eric will be
the
fine.
Who knows to drive, James?
Are we in White House?
We encourage you to
But we're
bring
very
a,
close to Millersville.
we encourage you to bring a bottle of bourbon when you come. Not every time, but as much as you can. You go somewhere, and remember, that's a tax donation. So you're gonna give that bottle of bourbon. We're gonna write your
We're gonna
receipt
write
for the
your
value
receipt.
of that. So
What do you
consider
mean
this
value?
your
Explain that.
contribution. The cost of the bottle.
Retail. Full retail and then some.
Yeah, but I got like a drug dealer that.
Okay.
No doubt.
Okay,
No
anything
doubt.
for you.
But basically, that is what I was kind of dreaming up in my mind. And again, didn't know how to do it until I went to Whiskey House. But basically, it's a bunch of our buddies hanging out and enjoying the spirits that we love together, having cookouts, events. They do blind draws where they're coming in and tasting different things, like he did tonight, where you don't know what you're tasting. But the other 50% of it is we would love to know your not-for-profits. And I mean, look, we're just going to have a form. It says whiskey tasting for 10, wine tasting for 10, tequila, and you give it to them, they auction it. The whole thing understands that they're doing a consignment or restocking of 20%. They're writing a check to a not-for-profit, and that just funds us to keep it going. The goal, once we get some revenue, is to have Stephen on staff full-time, and he's curating all day, every day, organizing, buying more, that kind of thing.
The cool thing about the Whiskey House, if you're a stakeholder, you get an email that gives you a list of all the events they have coming up, all the tastings, and then you get to come and experience those. So let's say we're doing this tonight for a nonprofit, and we get an email as stakeholders to say, hey, we have a group coming tonight, this is where they're from, if you're buying this at a nonprofit, there's a good chance that's a connection that you want to make. So remember that. So you're growing your network as well. So you as a stakeholder have the opportunity to come, sit in the back of the room, introduce yourself to those people, make connections. It really is a great way to grow your business too.
100%.
And if you're here, it's an exclusive invitation. We have to keep it small right now. We have to control it. We have to figure out what works and what doesn't work. We need your feedback. You're an investor in this organization.
Yeah, we're not using the word member because the Alcohol Beverage Commission hates the word membership. We are a stakeholder. You're just down here in your basement that your entity is paying rent essentially to come and sip your spirits.
So if you got here early and you saw a group of us sitting around, those are our board members. And we were there early, and that's kind of what we were doing. Small pours, not big pours, small pours, and talking about that. Why did we
Trying
like
different
it? Where
stuff.
is it from? Stephen's telling us all about the history of it. You really do have to somewhat like the history of bourbon, and there are amazing stories. And we've done, I don't know, 50 bourbon tasting tours across the Bardstown region. We love it. It's really, really fun. But really, the stories are incredible.
The goal is to expand your palate. We all do the same thing. We go to a restaurant like, hey, I know that one, give me that one. We want to expand it. We're doing little pours, so you're trying different stuff. I don't like that one, I don't like that one, I love that one, kind of like that one. Then you can go back to it.
So as of right now, we're trying to come up with times. So we would like to, possibly be open from 5 to 10.
5 to 10, yeah.
So, maybe like after a dinner place to go to, go to Molly Pazzo's, go to wherever, and then come down here.
We'll pop in. We'll have a little group text like, hey, I'm going to be down there tonight, who's coming?
Who's coming, whatever. But you got your
It's
own
yours.
code, you have whatever.
It's yours.
It's yours. You can do whatever you want to do.
it's yours depending on the investment.
Depending on the investment level, yeah.
It is by our rules, couple of rules. Any questions? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so, okay, for example, the first time I went to the whiskey house, I went as a guest of a stakeholder. And I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't take a bottle with me. I went in, and again, I talked to everybody, and I sipped and tried all kinds of stuff I never had. And I just reached in my pocket, and I had three $20 bills. And I just asked them, said, hey, man, I don't know how this works. And I just sat on the table and said, that's perfect. That's a donation. Boom, that kind of thing. So there's no right or wrong answer. Spouses are totally included, for sure. Now, you know, if you've got two big whiskey drinking, we'll have to figure something out, that kind of thing. But
Hey,
Mandy is not going to sip whiskey, for sure. But at the end of the day, it's not built to bring, you know, whatever, 80 of your friends one night, that kind of thing. It's built to bring a guest and hang out with our people. But something, I don't know that I haven't got anything as a stakeholder at Whiskey House that says it needs to be this amount. But hey, y'all are on the forefront of this. Let's dream it up. Whatever it looks like, it's got to make sense because they're shipping and, you know, taking up the time. You know, Stephen will be here, that kind of thing. But that's a great question, though.
You just want to
Something.
get more than you take.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've had a couple people ask me, like, okay, well, how do you get your money's worth, that kind of thing. It's not about that. It's a donate. I mean, we're trying to raise money for other not-for-profits. The money that we raise will kind of help us function, but we're trying to figure out ways to give it away besides just because if you think about it, we're not giving the money to the March of Dimes in that example. They're giving us money. We never see that $1,600 in that example. That goes through their revenue. We only get the $400. So we need to curate what that looks like too. You know, Rotary does bikes, those kind of things.
Guests are gonna be a problem. I mean, if you're gonna be doing something, you wanna bring people you wanna be hanging out with.
For sure.
One guest? Is that what you're?
I don't think it's one guest. No. I don't know. We haven't nailed that down,
The
Dave.
Whiskey House doesn't have like a hard rule on that. They just hope the person that's investing knows that you're not taking advantage of the purpose. The purpose is to give more than you receive.
But I get what you're saying too. You know, if you're not with these four all the time, you know, that kind of thing. I don't know what that
But we
looks
also
like.
hope that you're inviting people that want to.
That wanna
That wanna be a
invest.
stakeholder.
Yeah.
So can I give another example?
Yeah.
So the standard in Nashville,
Yeah.
was been the standard, started for cigar smoking. Couple guys at a steakhouse, couldn't smoke at the steakhouse, went back to Josh's house,
Yeah.
wanted to smoke cigars, that's how the standard started. And it turned into what it is today, which is a private club, it's very important in Nashville, all the players go there.
For sure.
And that's how it started. It started very small, started very simple, and grew into something that's become much bigger in Nashville. And to me, this is that same thing for Robertson and Summit County.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Who knows? That's what we're excited about is we don't know what it turns into. And again, this being the first event, we're dreaming it up with you. I mean, we've got our ideas. Yeah, we got a text thread. It's almost annoying, if you will, because we're dreaming up things as we go. We don't know exactly what it's going to end up looking like. We may just be a totally wine only event. What do y'all think? No, not wrong crowd. Sorry.
2 nights a week.
Who knows?
My wife would be happy.
Amen. Yeah, bring her on. Any other questions?
Y'all take credit cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so what's your vision, end game, who are you benefiting? So you wanna raise money for what?
Any not-for-profit that wants to get involved, we want to help them.
They're providing you money if they have.
Yeah, we're giving them a $2,000 experience in that example. They're keeping $1,600.
You know, you're gonna grow this money, you're gonna, you know, hopefully earn some money to give away to what?
So the goal is
What's the end beneficiary?
Right, but we're not going to end up with a lot of the revenue because we get enough to kind of make ends meet. Now it's going to be a surplus for sure, and
Eventually, I would hope.
yeah.
That's the goal, right?
Yeah,
But who benefits from it?
Yeah, so
Is
we're
that
gonna
our
have, we have
community
overhead.
here?
Absolutely. So we have overhead. We're gonna have an employee in order for this
We
to work
we
well,
actually need an employee.
Yeah, we need
so
Stephen.
to
That's
monitor
gonna have
this.
cost, for sure.
Right.
But he's saying after we get established, we got a lot of revenue. Where's it going?
The goal too is you make sure you have a really good library of bourbon,
Right.
and whiskey, and
Yeah.
wine.
You can't sell a $20,000 tasting for 10 without having the good stuff.
Absolutely, and that's the goal. So you want the March of Dimes, you want the Robertson County Chamber of Commerce, you want the Nashville Chamber of Commerce to come to you and say, hey, we want to auction this opportunity because y'all have an incredible library for us to choose from. This is a great experience. That takes money. It takes money to do that.
I think it's important to talk about when he started the whiskey house, it was about giving away tastings instead of giving away bottles.
Right.
We used to give away bottles.
Yeah.
We had no idea where it went. Instead, we decided, let's give away tastings.
And you can
Let
get
people come and do an experience.
you can
We're
get
not giving away
several tastings out of a 750 milliliter bottle of liquor that way.
Don, if I may.
Yeah.
So what we talked about was, as this group being a local Middle Tennessee place, Dave, that we have control over where that money's going. So it's not just going to be, hey, here's some money to the Boy Scouts, or the Girl Scouts. It's that when there are needs in our local community, we have the ability to vote on that. And you guys being a part of this, especially the beginning, you have say in where this money is going, right? So we're not just giving money willy-nilly just to say that we're a nonprofit. We actually want to literally impact the people that need this money. That's going to be life-changing. Right.
Absolutely.
In our
Absolutely.
community.
It will start
Yeah,
here and radiate out. But it's White House first. It's White House Springfield. It's first.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Just
you
like
all
we're
don't-
with all nonprofits.
You all don't know this, but the people that are on the board have giving hearts by nature. That's what they do is give. And this is a great way to double dip, if you will. You got a nice place to sip with all the people that you like and do really good, because you think about it, that $20,000 tasting obviously didn't cost $20,000. There's a lot of good that can come from that through the spirits.
Can you explain the board members, Donnie, the background of each,
If you're a
why
board
you
member-
selected
Yeah.
everybody?
Let me just give an example too. I'm Aaron Clifford, I'm a board member.
Yes.
I'm on the board of Interfaith Fence in Nashville. So I was talking to the CEO the other day, and she's like, I've got vendors who will sponsor a $10,000 to $20,000 whiskey tasting if you get a bunch of dentists in. And so she's like, and then that would go, so the whiskey house or the Giving Barrel example would be like $20,000, $16,000 goes to Interfaith, the $4,000 comes to the Giving Barrel, so we can restock and hire everybody, but there's like a huge need, so $16,000 goes to Interfaith.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just from a sponsor, a product
Yeah.
vendor person, just so they can network with
It's
vendors.
networking.
That's just an example.
Which is the trifecta in all this is networking. I'm looking around the room and I'm seeing I know most of you and what you do. That is a prime part of what we do. I mean, I'm in the mortgage business, but really I'm a networker. That's what I do all day, every day. So that is the trifecta, the third part of this for sure.
Well, just like most nonprofits, when you compile everybody kind of rowing in the same direction, you get much further than you do with one person by themselves. So this is an opportunity for us to just go hard and fast and make a big impact in Robertson, Sumner, and Middle Tennessee, really.
I was
The
just
whole
sitting here
region.
looking around the room. There are some big hitters in this little bitty square that I'm looking at right now. So it has a big potential impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Just
you're
in
not the only
general.
part of that.
That's
right?
Dave. Dave specifically is a big hitter.
For such a small investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to go over why you selected each board member, Donnie? That might help people.
Oh, we haven't heard this either as
No.
board
I
members.
don't think we've been talking
Wait.
What does
Go
each
right
person
ahead.
bring to this?
Yeah.
Why did you select this?
If you're a board member, say that. Let's start with that.
Let's do that. Cody Watt. So he is a board member because he is a recovering alcoholic, and we're doing spirits, right? He is the most genuine guy you'll ever absolutely meet, and he loves giving, and not only giving, but loves cigars. And he said, that's the coolest thing. He got just as excited as this guy when I mentioned it to him. The only person that got more excited than both of them was Jordan. This is my sister, essentially. We've been doing all kinds of different things over the years, and she could not be a part of this. could not have not been a part of this because she's that important. Chris Boger, my best friend in the whole wide world. He drinks everything that is out there. Anything that's drinking, he's doing it, and he's got his father's heart, and that's giving. Aaron, I've known of him a long time. He invited me to the whiskey house to go to my second tasting, and we just hit it off. And I can just tell he's way smarter than me, so he needs to be part of it for sure. John DeGarner, just by default, is our legal counsel. So he, by default, got on the deal, and he was super excited as
He's
well.
also a bourbon drinker.
He's a big bourbon drinker. On his way, I think he's in Abu Dhabi right now, fixing to get the flight to Bali. Who am I missing?
That's all, right?
Okay. It's a special crew. It was definitely handcrafted.
Well, what I see from all this is that, along with all those special relationships we have, is that Cody knows insurance.
No doubt.
We need that, right? Donnie is the best, most famous White House person that you'll meet, right? He's the networker, right? He can't stop talking. He's the face of all this, right? Aaron and Jordan both have a lot of experience in non-for-profits, right? Chris is a big name in the community as well, and then Jonathan's a lawyer, right? So we've covered all of our bases with what we need to have a good program, right? So you have heavy hitters in each category that will allow us to be successful.
And this guy trained me to make my muscles really big. Obviously, he sucks at that.
That's why I'm doing
But
whiskey
he's
now.
great at curating bourbon tastings, for sure. I mean, I'm trying. I'm doing all I can. All right, any other questions? And then we're going to mingle. Thanks for coming.
We'll
And,
take a check tonight.
How y'all gonna bill us?
Yeah, so you
Oh.
let us know tonight. So we would like to make sure we have your email address. And most of us do, because we all invited, board members invited who's in the room today.
And if you brought something, we'll be able to give you a receipt.
yeah,
somehow.
we'll get with
If
you on
brought
that.
some-
We know
we'll
what
get
we
some on
got.
that. And then right here is our tip jar for Stephen only.
Stephen has
We're not doing this for the Given Barrel. This is for Stephen only. This
should
is
write on that.
just something that we
Stephen only.
really need for this to go forward.
No doubt.
We need Stephen to go forward with this. This is something that we've been hoping for. We want it to happen just for him and his family, his two beautiful children and his wife. But also, he has the passion to keep this thing going.
He is the engine that's going to make
Yes.
this thing work. For
So
sure.
He's
we're
already
going
got-
to tell you how much we appreciate Stephen.
Yeah,
There was nobody to pick.
This guy's very good.
Nobody to
Appreciate
pick but
that.
Stephen.
Thank you.
And hey, it's all self-taught. He got it the good old-fashioned way, right? Drinking, reading, researching, learning, that kind of thing. So, thank you.
Thank you guys, I appreciate
Yeah.
Steven, how do you grow muscle and drink bourbon?
it. Well, it's fine, but I usually
30 years old.
put a scoop of protein,
Yeah.
put a scoop of protein in each drink, and now.
Years.